What's good, peeps? Thanks as always for passing by the channel. Much appreciated. Hit that subscribe button if you guys are new. What's your level of interest in the Kovalev versus Canelo fight? Like, where are you on the scale? Scale 1 to 10, 1 being not interested at all, 10 being very interested. Where are you? I am about a 4, maybe pushing it a 5, but I think a 4. I think prior to the Yard fight, I was like a 6 or 7. So it hasn't dropped too much. That basically just means I wasn't interested in the beginning. But I did want to see how Kovalev looked against Yard. And I guess he looked okay, right? He looked okay. I mean, he won every single round, maybe apart from obviously round 8, and I think maybe round 7. And he got the knockout. So I guess that's not too bad. I did say in the lead up to the fight, if 60% of the Kovalev that fought Jean Pascal turns up against Yard, then he will run through Yard. I think it's fair to say that 20% of that guy turned up. So I'm basically saying 20% of the best Kovalev, that Kovalev against Jean Pascal, that Kovalev in the first Andre Ward fight is left. 20%. Do I want to see 20% of the best Kovalev versus what is peak Canelo right now? Even though Canelo's jumping up a couple of weight classes, do I really want to see that fight? I don't think so. I don't think so. Kovalev, in parts against Yard, looked like a very, very old man. A man that has abused his body. That's what it looked like for me, because he's 36. 36 isn't that old. I mean, it's old, don't get me wrong. But he looked very old, right? I mean, not just from the body shots. I mean, we know the body's his weak part, but he just looked tired. He just looked like a tired old man. And look, he got the job done in the end, so you've got to applaud him. But I don't know if I want to see that guy against Canelo. I really don't. I don't want Canelo to have Kovalev on his resume, knowing that Pete Kovalev sleeps Canelo. Sleeps him. Pete Kovalev, that ran through Jean Pascal, would sleep Canelo. So I don't want to see one of the best light heavyweights of this generation get beat by Canelo. I don't. I understand why he's going to want the fight, obviously, because it's his biggest payday probably ever. So I get why he's going to rush to it. But I don't know if I want to see it. I don't, though, and I will say this, in kind of sticking up for Kovalev a little bit. I see how people were saying, oh, Yard hurt Kovalev to the body, Canelo will. Yard is a fucking cruiserweight. That guy is huge. So it doesn't mean because Yard hurt him to the body that Canelo can. It just doesn't mean that. You look at Canelo when he's jumped up in weight. I mean, look at the fights. Rocky Fielding, let's not count that one because Rocky Fielding. But Julio Cesar Chavez couldn't put a dent in him. Couldn't really do much. I mean, that went to points, didn't it? So it won't be easy for Canelo. But in the end, I do think he will beat Kovalev. And I just don't want to see that. And I also feel like, and this is difficult for me to say because, I mean, how can you cherry pick when you're jumping up in weights? But he's kind of cherry picking, let's be honest. He wants a belt at 175. Why not chase the younger kids, the younger guns? Why not go for Bertabiev or Vodzik or Bivol? It's almost like he's picking out the older man just to get that belt. And I don't really like that. I don't really like that at all. Also, the thing that makes me not want to see the fight is that they're talking about this fight happening in November. I mean, he just fought fucking on Saturday, sorry. He needs at least, I'd say, at least the whole year out. I wouldn't want to see Kovalev in the ring again until like March, April. He needs the whole year out, rest up, and then start camp January, February, and then be ready to go again, March, April. Like, the idea of him fighting in November, and they are going to want to try and push him to fight in November because Canelo needs to fight this year again, is just ludicrous. I mean, if he does fight in November, and that's the date we're hearing, he literally has to start camp in about 3 weeks. That's just ridiculous. And again, it's almost cheating. It's unfair. I mean, you've just seen a guy literally on his last legs in round 8. Tough fight. You're asking him to rest up for 3 or 4 weeks, then go back into camp to fight you. That's bullshit. But my fear is that he will take the fight just because of the money. And again, so we are going to see Canelo versus Kovalev, but it's going to be Canelo versus 10% of the Kovalev that we remember. I mean, do we really want to see that? I mean, is that really fair? I mean, if you do want to fight him and it's obvious that Canelo does want to fight him, then at least let him rest up. Take a gimme fight in November, December, rest up and then fight him. That's what I would suggest. But deep down in my heart, I don't even want to see this fight. After Saturday, I wouldn't mind it, and this might be a bit harsh, I wouldn't mind Kovalev saying, you know what, we're done, we call it quits. Right? I wouldn't mind it. You had a fight in your hometown against a young, hungry lion. You came through victorious, maybe call it quits. I just don't like the idea of Canelo jumping up in weights, being big and strong, and just hurting Kovalev. I just don't like the idea of it because I don't think it's a true reflection on what would have really happened if those two fought at their peak. Because again, at their peak, I mean, it would have been like a hot knife through butter. And right now, like Canelo's done, I think, he's almost just adding names to the resume, right? Adding names to the resume, and then everyone's going to do what they do. And so, oh my God, look at Canelo's resume. It's the best resume in the history of boxing. Again, go through that resume. When did he fight the people? Because right now it looks like he's going to fight Kovalev. And this isn't Kovalev. This is Kovalev's twin brother. Peace.